Hello, my name is Deepali, and I'm going to be talking about this lesson, discipline. So discipline is a subject that a lot of people find important, whether it be students or otherwise. I think it's really important for so many people in whatever career they pursue. So hopefully this lesson will be useful for your students. So to look at our timeline, we are on week 4, and this is what the lesson overview looks like. So we have a little icebreaker. We talk about discipline a little bit. We have a discipline questionnaire. We have some strategies to overcome procrastination. We have a behavior change plan, action plans, breakout rooms, the next steps, and then scheduled check-ins. A reminder that there are suggested timelines beside each one of them, so you know approximately how long each one should take, but you don't have to time it exactly. So to start off, we have a little icebreaker that talks about discipline. A reminder, when you see this symbol, that means that people can respond in the chat or they can speak up, depending on what format you are running your sessions in. Then we have a little section on discipline versus self-discipline. And this is a section where we'll explore the idea of discipline, how we might think of it before this lesson, such as, someone else disciplining you to do things or us disciplining ourselves to do things. And so we'll do an activity called a marshmallow test and daily challenge, where you kind of practice delayed gratification. So you'll go through this activity, you'll watch the video with your class, and then you kind of talk about the idea of waiting for a reward and how that can be really applicable. I think for a lot of people, especially with social media and things, it can be very easy to only think of the instant gratification, like the instant likes or things on social media. But with this, we kind of just talk about what it's like to really delay your gratification and have it worth the wait, which is really applicable to things like school, sports, and so many other long-term commitments. So we talk about why is self-discipline important, which you can read off here, the habits of highly disciplined people. So we give some advice to students, and a reminder, when you're reading off these, don't just read off the slide. Read off the slide, but then, throw in some of your own personal opinions or your own personal experiences, most importantly, to kind of relate to your audience a little bit more. And then we have a self-discipline questionnaire, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's a questionnaire in the students' worksheet section that you can find that will tell them a little bit about their own self-discipline. And once again, this writing symbol is to represent that they'll have to write something down. If they don't have it printed out, which is fine, they can just do it either online by looking at the form and writing it down, their answers down on a piece of paper. So then we talk about the 4 main kind of procrastinators, and you can say that you can be multiple of these as well, because you might be a combination of these, and just understanding more about who you are as a procrastinator. If you are a procrastinator, can help you out a lot. And you brainstorm as a group how you can overcome procrastination. So this is really a time where you want to have group discussions. You want to encourage people to participate. If people don't participate, feel free to share thoughts of your own to encourage people to, and let them know that it's okay to share their ideas. And so try to brainstorm ideas with your group on how you can overcome procrastination, some tips that everyone might find useful. And then after brainstorming, you'll talk about real strategies that you can use to help build discipline. And I really encourage you to dive into these strategies, because I think for a lot of people, they are really important, and they kind of go through different elements of discipline. The elements of understanding your why and getting into the mindset first are things you have to think about. Then you can think about the logistics and things of, creating a schedule and having the perfect working environment, all those things. And then you can talk about self-reflection and of things like reviewing your day and reviewing how things went. I think breaking it down like that is really important, because the reality is that for a lot of people, discipline isn't just writing something down or writing a to-do list and saying, okay, now that I've written it down, I'll achieve it. It's really working on your mindset and working on how you think about your goals as well. So then that's where the behavior change commitment comes in, which is the worksheet that you'll see here, which essentially talks about a behavior that the student wants to change. And essentially is the idea of this one is to kind of start with one behavior and recognize that by just changing one behavior, you can really change your life over the course of a few days or a few weeks or even a few months and years. And so then you go into breakout rooms where you talk about discipline and strategies that you're going to be used. Remember, anything in pink, you insert info here as well. Then you'll talk about reflection questions. Remember, you don't have to talk about these. These are just things people can talk on their own, and they can write them down at home. It doesn't have to be official homework, though I encourage you to put them on your Google Classroom or virtual communication platform. Then you'll give them tips on spreading the word about their passion projects, as that can be very important in the stage of their passion project, just because It doesn't relate to discipline, but it relates to the stage of the passion project. Then you'll talk about next steps. Remember, you can post these next steps, and it's actually highly encouraged to post these next steps on your Google Classroom or virtual platforms so people can have them easily accessible, because not everyone's going to go back to the slideshow. And then you'll have scheduled check-ins. This is kind of a new thing and a thing just for this lesson. It's essentially where you can give advice or answer questions for your students. So at this stage in passion project creation, a lot of people might have questions. They might be stuck a little bit, which is why we have this discipline lesson now, and they want motivation to continue. But they also might have questions about, how their passion project is going, how they can improve, things like that. So this is the kind of point where you can have a scheduled check-in with them. You can create a document or create some kind of form. The format that you do this is up to you, but essentially what you'll do is create, let's just say, a document where you post times that you are available to chat. Then people can sign up for those times, and this is completely optional. This is not like one of the deliverables or one of the homework assignments that students have to do. And they can sign up for a slot, like a 10-minute slot, a 15-minute slot, whatever time works for you, where they can just check in with you. And you can do this virtually. It might be easier for a lot of people, or you can do this in person after class if you'd like, or after the lessons if you'd like, if that's helpful. And yeah, this is completely optional. It's essentially just for certain students to check in with you. If you want to, you can encourage them to come, and they can just ask you questions if you have any advice on anything, or ask you for feedback. Remember, passion projects aren't graded, so you don't feedback is not necessary for a certain grade, but it can really help students improve their passion project. And so with that being said, that will be the end of this lesson. There's an additional resource here as well that can be helpful for some of you. But overall, that's the end of lesson 4. So thank you.